Hello, everybody. It's your boy King Caleb here, back at it again with 2023 rankings of all the positions. NFL draft, you know how it is. If you watched last year, I'm going to go 10 to 1, give you pros, cons, comps, just general thoughts on them, what I feel about such players, what I hear about such players, what's the consensus maybe, and then just how I feel. Because, I rarely have shared opinions all the way with these analysts. That's just, how it is. I don't know. Everyone's been wrong. Everyone's been right. If you go back, you'll see who hit, who didn't hit so far last year. And we can, just see how they progress in their careers. But let's just start this shit off. Enough rambling. You guys get the gist. Max Duggan from TCU is my number 10 ranked quarterback in this here draft class. 6'1", 207. I get all their weight and shit from NFL.com. I don't really care about the weights, but people who do, or you're just curious, there he is. My projection is a 6th to 7th. He could even be undrafted. I could see that happening. Some honorable mentions: Jaron Hall from BYU, Stenson Bennett, I guess, from Georgia. There's been reports that people are now high on him. I mean, he just has no elite traits, but he's a winner. He's tough. I don't care. Some other people from Division II, I'm sure, are gonna pop up out of nowhere. I really didn't look at any of them this year. I know I did Cole McDonald last year from Northeast Idaho State, some shit. But I mean, all the Division I quarterbacks are pretty good this year. So, and there was none that stuck out. D2. I'm trying to think of who else. Aiden O'Connell from Purdue. I don't have him on my list. I know a lot of people do. Just for whatever, I just don't like them as well as the other people are. I just don't think they have what it takes. I'm sure these guys that I've mentioned can be backups and may or may not be drafted ahead of some of these people. It's all. Who gives a fuck? But yeah, the pros for Max, tough, resilient player, great leader. He led TCU all the way to the fucking national championship. I don't care that they got mollywopped. Just that season was very. I mean, it's the best in their school history. So you got to give him that. Good playmaker, can extend plays on the run. Pretty good. Throwing on the run. He can be inaccurate at times with his accuracy consistency. Just in general, whether he's in the pocket or not, whether that's overshooting guys, not having the right touch, not bad footwork. It's a lot of things that you gotta put into when you have accuracy inconsistencies. But in his decision making, it's there's a wide open pass to the running back, but you want to force it to Quentin Johnston in a slant. Just an example. I was watching the Michigan tape mostly. Shout out to the QB school, JT O'Sullivan on here, who's way bigger channel than me. He's a career backup, so he knows about the game and whatnot. He's usually my go-to when I want to watch film and hear someone talk about it. So that's a play like that came up. So that's what reminded me of that. But yeah, good runner, good tough player, but doesn't have an elite arm. So we got a player comp of Sam Ehlinger, or Tim Tebow even, you could say, but Ehlinger was a better passer than Tebow was coming out, and I think Max is too. Max is at that Sam level of arm talent. I wasn't really high on Sam. Max is he was more entertaining to watch for me. I liked him a little bit more, but they're about the same talent level. But Sam went in 4th, 5th round, so you never know, if one of these teams really loves this guy and think he can be a good backup for him. That's what he's going to be if he has a long career in the NFL. If not, the XFL, the USFL, CFL, he'll get opportunities and jobs to play football for at least the next 5 years. So Yeah, we got Max Duggan at 10, folks. Next at 9 is Jake Haener out of Fresno State, 6'2", 207. I got him projected as a 5th to 6th round pick. Another guy that could maybe be 7th or undrafted. You know, he was a very good player. Had a better season last year, 2021, than 2022. Whether that's, you know, receivers leaving or linemen bad, no running game. You know, it's a lot of reasons why statistically why you could have a down year, quote unquote. I don't think that makes you less of a player personally, but it is what it is. You know, I have many gripes of how people evaluate players. I just don't think the common folk look for the right things personally, but you know, it is what it is. The pros I got him is his, you know, he has good touch, pretty good ball placement. You know, gets it to where only his receivers can. Not too many dumb plays, you know, just questionable interceptions, stuff like that. Processes the field pretty well. You know, nothing spectacular, but he's pretty, you know, good at it. But, you know, calling arm strength, he's not going to bomb it like some people down the line on this list. His timing can be a little off, too. So, whether that's, you know, just miscommunication or just accuracy, foot placement, not knowing the beats of throwing the ball, that can get cleaned up on. But I think he has the tools and the makings to be a good backup maybe for a long time, like Colt McCoy, who's got still in this league. I was like 9 watching him play in college, and now he's still doing his thing, but he does look like Colt McCoy a little bit out of Texas. Colt McCoy was a monster at Texas. People don't remember, obviously, but throwing on the run and, you know, leading your team, carrying him almost, that's what I see in Jake Haener in those Fresno State games. Number 8, and him and Haener really can be intertwined at 8 and 9. I don't see, there's not much of a separation at all. And Clayton Tune out of Houston, he's more mobile, so, you know, in today's league, I think he'll have the edge here. He's bigger too, 6'2", 220. You know, teams are just going to like that, you know, whether you like it or not, where you think it's valid or not. I personally don't. If you can play, you can play. That doesn't matter how tall you are, you know. And I mean, your size, obviously, for injuries, that's, in theory, that makes sense, but, like, we've seen bigger people get injured just as much. You know, I don't. Again, people, what are we really evaluating? I don't know. But, you know, I got him projected as another 5th to 6th round backup. You know, sneaky mobility. It's more straight line speed. He's very stiff, too, when he runs. I kind of wanted to compare him to Daniel Jones, but I got a Ryan Tannehill cop. You know, good accuracy. Lacks arm strength, though, again. You know, he's not going to sling it in pocket presence. You know, if there's a little bit of pressure, he'll run away and either get sacked, throw it out, or, you know, scramble for some yards. You know, just clean that up, stay in the pocket a little bit more, step up. That's some things he can work on. But, yeah, I like him. I think this is a better class than last year, let me add, and I was higher on last year's class than anyone. We'll see how those people translate. Looks like only my boy Kenny Pickett really is going to be a perennial starter in that class. Maybe if Brock Purdy gets healthy, I don't know. I would pick Trey Lance personally. But, yeah, a really good backup, you know, for a team that needs or would want a young backup to develop for a long time. I think Clayton Tune could be a good fit for you. And we have 7. We have Tanner McKee out of Stanford. Now, I'm a little higher on Haener and Tune. Well, I mean, I guess just as a fan watching, I like them better. But objectively, I can see that Tanner is a better natural thrower of the football. That's why I got him here. At 7, 6'6", 231, I got him projected as a 4th to 5th round pick. Very good arm talent, very accurate. Not the biggest arm, at least not from what I saw before actually like deep diving into his tape and film. You'd hear people talk about how he has just great arm talent, like he was slinging the rock all over the yard, and he really wasn't. He really doesn't push the ball, down the field. So there's a lot of Joe Flacco comps, but he just doesn't play like him to me personally. So I went with another guy in Mike Glennon, just the generic tall quarterback. That's who these people are going to get nowadays, either Flacco or Glennon. Just like Carson Strong last year, I almost wanted to compare him to Strong, but I think Strong is a better prospect personally if he didn't get injured, which, that's a knock on me in my evaluating last year. I didn't know just how severe that injury was. I had Strong as my 5th rated quarterback, and he went undrafted, so, you guys will watch me evolve in my evaluation, see how if it gets better or worse, what I value more. But yeah, accurate quarterback, smart. Obviously, he went to Stanford, so he has good decision making. He has no mobility. I wouldn't say at all. Like I saw some plays where he extended, got 4 to 5 yards, but I mean he's not gonna, run on 1st and 10 and give you first downs consistently. And then he lacks the touch. He doesn't have much zip on his passes either. Like, I don't know. The arm strength really, it's not as good as you'd think for me personally. Like, a lot of balls floated to me, and they weren't even tight spirals sometimes. But, I mean, he gets it to his receivers, doesn't make too many dumb mistakes. Again, if you need a just tall, traditional pocket passer who probably would have been a first-round pick in, 2005, Tanner McGee's your guy over there. I didn't even mean to rhyme. I'm on a roll here. As number 6, I got my boy DTR out of UCLA, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, 6'2", 208. I think he's a better prospect than Tanner personally, but my projection is what I think GMs and other people think. Like, I don't no one but Chris Sims and me, I guess, like him, and that tells you anything if I'm agreeing with Chris Sims. But hey, I'm here for it. You guys know I don't give a fuck. I'm not scared to give you guys my opinion and my rankings on people. So I got him as a 5th or 6th round pick. He might go 7th round. He might go undrafted even. Like, I just don't hear anyone talking about him but Chris Sims. I don't understand why. He has good arm talent, very mobile. It's like in the league now. Like, what more do you need? He can clean up on his decision making, his reading of defenses. Sometimes he forces passes. Footwork can get cleaned up too. But I compare him to Matt Corral, who was my QB1 last year. Again, not looking good, obviously, but he got injured, so he didn't get a chance at all to play last year. I feel like he would have gotten some reps if he wasn't hurt, because they traded Baker and Darnold was hurt. But obviously, with a new regime, new quarterback, they're going to want, Frank Reich, obviously, he wants his own quarterback with Stroud or Young. All right, maybe Richardson last minute, or we'll see with how the draft evaluation goes on. But yeah, I don't know why he doesn't get this much looks or talks about. He has good arm, good, not great. That's why I just put good arm talent, good arm strength, good accuracy. Like, he's not lacking throwing the ball wise. He's not lacking running the ball wise. I just don't see how he's this terrible prospect that's like the 15th best quarterback in the class that like other people are saying. So, hey, get him in a system who, again, wants to develop a young quarterback, and I think he could be a really good backup for a while. If not, you can maybe go the PJ Walker route, and like if he goes to one of these littler leagues, XFL, USFL, I think he'd be like the best quarterback in those leagues, and maybe find his way back in the NFL somehow. But I like DTR a lot, and clearly more than anyone else on the planet, and that's okay. Number 5, I got Hendon Hooker out of Tennessee. You know the weight and height. I don't really care anymore. Projections 2nd to 3rd. Mostly because the ACL injury is why I can see him slipping to the 3rd round. If he wasn't injured, I'd say for sure 2nd, maybe even 1st. But he has developed very nicely since being with Josh Heupel, In Tennessee, obviously, with Virginia Tech, he was more of an inconsistent thrower of the ball, more runner, really. They're not like a high-end scrambler, so we have a Geno comp. But yeah, he pushes the ball downfield a lot. Good arm talent all around. I don't have questions on his arm strength or accuracy. Sometimes he's inconsistent with that, with the sailing of the ball, overthrowing wide open targets. The Georgia game, there was some film, bad tape, you could say, but everyone's entitled to have a couple bad games. That doesn't deter me personally, but he has a quick release, can get the ball out, good footwork. You can tell he works on that. And then the cons are, processing. Can he process the NFL defenses? Because, the scheme they ran at Tennessee was not, just like, kind of like how Matt Corral, the criticisms for him and his offense, it's very college-centric. And then different from most colleges anyway, very limited route trees and limited reads. Like, if it's not this guy or the second guy, like, usually they were always open, so you didn't have to look at the third or the dump off to the running back. So we'll see that. And then throwing on the run, I noticed, dips in accuracy a little bit. Didn't really do it too much even. And when he did, it wasn't at like a high level. I mean, again, this is stuff they can work on. This isn't like deal breakers for me personally. I like him. I think he could be a sneaky pick in the second, third round. Sit him for a year or two and could be your starting quarterback of the future, really. How high-end or elite of a quarterback, I don't know. But I think he's safer than the next two picks if you were to pick them. But they just have higher ceilings, which is why, objectively, I have them starting with the always controversial, like the most controversial quarterback in this class, I guess, is Will Levis out of Kentucky. I got him as a first-round pick, though. He's too talented not to, and we've seen worse people get drafted in the first round. I'm not too high on Will Levis, but I'm higher on him than some. I'm not like, how the hell is he being projected as a first-round pick? Like, I can see it. I don't think I draft him personally, but when you have the arm strength and the athleticism that he does, you're gonna get looks. The size, these GMs are having, boners watching him and his pro day, and you get it. On the run, throwing a 70-yard bomb, it looks good. It looks cute, but where was that in the film, Will? I didn't see it. And then Kuiper, always the loud and smartest guy in the room, saying, look at the 2021 film. It's like, he wasn't Mahomes there either. He had a very good year that year, at least a better year than this past year. And obviously we know that, the line wasn't as good and the receivers weren't as good as competition, but it's like, I don't know. Me personally, I can just objectively look at one player individually and evaluate them. The snob Kaleb in me, you guys know how I am by now. I just don't need that excuse, good or bad, for someone. It's like how CJ, will go to him later, obviously. Like, he had all this great talent around him, all these receivers, good line. It's like he still had to make the throws and, read the defenses. Like, I don't... Your teammates affect how your team performs, but I don't think it affects how you perform personally. It doesn't, Joe Burrow isn't a worser quarterback because his line sucks, It's like, I don't know. Me personally, I don't use those excuses. But, yeah, pocket presence, again, speaking of terrible O-line, he didn't have a good line, which we will acknowledge. But even in saying that, he didn't really step up in the pocket or didn't do it well. He has very inconsistent footwork, to say the least. Decision-making, again. Is it Carson Wentz is a good comp, obviously, for this reason. Is it the Jay Cutler, Carson Wentz, Brett Favre, Eli Manning thing? for me that I've been saying for years. Like when you have elite arm talent, you force throws because you think you can make every throw. I don't think Will is accurate as any of those players, though, personally. Um, but yeah, I like the Carson Wentz comp because he's a bigger guy, athletic, big arm. I think Carson's more accurate and was more accurate coming out, but Will definitely has a bigger arm, like just power, like how far you can throw it better. So, I mean, hey, if you want to draft him, go ahead. I get it. He has talent. He can get coached up. I think he's a tough guy. He's not like not dumb. I can tell and hope he looks at film and stuff. Like he has qualities. I'm not just saying this guy sucks at all, but I guess if I had to pick a bust, he's my number one pick next to the next guy we're going to talk about. But yeah, he needs to be in a right system with a quarterback, coach, and an OC and a head coach that can help him and develop him. Because I can definitely see a scenario where he does not end well, unfortunately, in this league. But number 3, I got Anthony Richardson out of Florida, another project player, another guy with elite arm strength and athleticism. Got him again as a first-round pick. I think this is more for sure than last year, obviously, about 4 quarterbacks getting drafted in the first round. Yeah, big, physical, athletic freak specimen, they're saying. Everyone's excited about him. This is being recorded before his pro day, so I'm sure once that happens, he'll become the number 1 pick because he throws a nice on-the-run throw. He's just very, very raw. He's only started 13 college games. Again, in a system where I don't know helped him a lot for the future. Again, if you want to give him that excuse, sure. But yeah, he has accuracy issues. It's just inconsistent, footwork can improve. He's not completely terrible. He can somewhat read defenses. You see it. It's not like he's oblivious to what's happening on the field. But I got a comp of a bigger, faster Malik Willis. You see comps of Cam Newton and Josh Allen, especially Will Levis to Josh Allen. I don't know. I think those are like one-of-a-kind players, personally. Even though I compared Malik Willis to Josh Allen last year, I'm glad there's a more leveled comparison to that now. Like just big arm quarterbacks who can run. But yeah, Malik was raw. Needed time to develop. Still needs time to develop, and I think that's going to be Richardson. You sit him a full year at least. Maybe, get him in on some QB run plays, maybe. Hell, same thing with Levis. I almost wanted to compare Levis, if we can go back to him, to, like, Taysom Hill, which is so disrespectful in hindsight. I think he's a way better passer than him, kind of. But, like, if QB doesn't work out, he could be a great tight end. I feel like he could be. Or the role that Taysom Hill plays, at least. But as we skip over to 1B and 1A, shocker, who's 2. But yeah, so we'll see. Richardson's going to be now the new standard of the overly athletic receiver or quarterback with the big arm. I do think he could be a quarterback, though. No, you're going to switch him to running back or nothing like that. But same thing with Levis. It was just a thought in my mind. Like, I feel like he could do that. He could play tight end, like what Tebow couldn't do. But yeah, these two are high talented guys. I see it, but just projects, and they don't have the production. They just didn't show being an elite quarterback even in college. So it's kind of hard for me to be sold on them as I'm sold on my 1B CJ Stroud. The reason why I don't have him 1A, I don't want to be completely biased. You guys know what I rep all fucking day. Yeah, first round pick. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, he could potentially be the first overall pick. Great arm talent, the best arm talent in this draft class. When I say arm talent, I mean arm strength and accuracy combination. Pretty much, like, can you throw every pass, every type of pass on the field. You can throw it anywhere at your will, pretty much. Good processing, can get the ball out pretty quickly. Not as quick as Bryce. They have things that, like, Bryce is better in this aspect, CJ's better in this aspect. Reads through his progressions well. Really good. Yeah, just pinpoint accuracy, he's deadly, man. He just, when he's on, when he cooks, and I didn't see a better quarterback when he's at his best, personally. But yeah, cons, if you want to nitpick, pocket drifting / pressure. This is all like kind of in one. Like when he gets pressured, the accuracy dips a little, which, I mean, this is just nitpicking, really, that you hear from other people. Like, I mean, what quarterback excels under pressure? Please show me who that guy is. I've yet to fucking see it all my life. But I mean, I can see it, and then there's a couple instances, and when I mean a couple, I literally mean just two, Penn State game and the Georgia game, where he didn't sense where the blitzer was, so he wasn't able to audible, and the guy came in for a clean sack, like pop, blindside sack, because he didn't know and prognosticate where the pressure was going to be at, but that didn't pop up much in the tape. And even in the pressure, like there's throws where he's unfazed by the pressure. But I mean, pocket drifting, he'll scoot along sometimes when there's a clean pocket where he doesn't need to, and when he rolls out, he's not the best thrower on the run in this class, but I don't think he's far behind anyone else besides Bryce. So I got an athletic Matt Ryan comp. It was very hard to compare CJ to me. I think he's a one-of-one guy, personally. You hear comparisons that he throws like Jared Goff. He has the arm talent of Jared Goff, which, I mean, I can see it. Goff has very good arm talent, but I always said Goff was a poor man's Matt Ryan, and I think CJ has a higher ceiling than Goff, so that's why I have an athletic Matt Ryan, because he can run when he needs to. The Georgia game showed you he can move and throw on the run. So yeah, I mean, that's not his MO. He'll stay in the pocket, climb it as much as he can. But yeah, if he's not first to you, he can only be second in my eyes. I do not see it, and I think he'll be a very good quarterback for a very long time. As a Buckeye, he's the best prospect to come out of Ohio State, so hopefully he can break that stigma and have a successful career. And my 1A is Bryce Young out of Alabama. First round pick. Very great playmaker, great processing, can get the ball out quick, can run, good enough arm, good arm accuracy. There's not many flaws in either of their game. That's why it was hard for me to have a con. And funny enough, con of his too is pocket drifting, which I guess his line wasn't as good this year as it has been in past years. So he, tried to like hurry up and escape and make a play sometimes before he needed to. His touch kind of, it's just little inconsistencies. With the arm strength, how much English you want to put on it, or if you're being pressured, you're throwing on your back leg. Can he get it out there? Nothing that I really care about, but I mean, if you need a con, that's one, I guess. I have him as Joe Burrow as a comp. Shout out to Dan Orlovsky, of all people, that said it, and it stuck with me because it's the whole month of evaluating and doing this. I was like, kind of like Stroud, he's like an athletic Drew Brees to me, and there's been some Drew Brees comps, and because you hear the Mahomes comps, but he just doesn't, besides scrambling and throwing on the run, he doesn't have the arm strength and doesn't really play like him that much. Like, he plays more like a Burrow, or yeah, just by, Burrow is a very great processor, can get the ball out quick, he can run when need to, good ball placement, Like I said, CJ is the most like laser dot accuracy guy, but Bryce is, right behind him there. So that's why I got the Joe Burrow comp. You think of Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, because they're both short. Again, he doesn't press the ball as much down the field as Wilson did, or prime Wilson. And he's not as fast as Kyler, and Kyler's more built, and so is Russ. Yeah, so he doesn't have as much arm strength as either of those guys, but good enough to be a starter for a long time. I think him and CJ are definitely going to be cornerstone starting quarterbacks for 10 plus years, let's say. But yeah, this has been my QB rankings. I will be giving you guys more positions in the days and week. I'm gonna try to get this out within get them all done by the first week of April-ish, so I can get the draft, on the 20th-ish of April. So yeah, we're gonna escape out of this or not. I'll just end it here. This has been your boy King Caleb, as always, here, signing the hell out.